What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another video. My name is Franco Torres, and today thought I'd talk a little bit about this beautiful sounding pedal, the Andy Timmons Halo by Keeley Electronics. These guys are geniuses. They're scientists that just, quite frankly, know what to do and how to do it right. At some point, I 100% want to own all of the Andy Timmons collaboration with Keeley. All of them are, quite frankly, really cool concepts and designs. But today, like I said, we're talking about this one, and it just blew my mind, honestly. I'm a huge fan of tape delays. I'm a huge fan of delay pedals in general, right? But I've always had a kind of a soft spot towards anything tape or analog, because that's kind of what started to really, quite frankly, get me into delays. In fact, I've got a pedal that I'm going to talk about in another video, which is the Tape Echo, which is the faux Tape Echo version 2 by Wampler. Really cool story with that one, but I'll, again, leave that for another video. That pedal pretty much got me into everything that was, tape delays and that kind of like analog warmth almost a decade ago at this point. And yeah, I've always had kind of a soft spot towards them, and this is pretty much based off of that, right? Just the idea of having two tape echo heads on the go. So you've got your A side, your B side, which again are going to be two different, settings. That's just pretty cool, right? Just being able to have two different pedals essentially in one. I think that's awesome. But, it's not just that, right? You've got 4 different preset banks on it. So essentially, you've got about, 8 different settings on store that you can have, again, on the fly. And that's pretty darn cool, especially if you're playing live different kinds of songs or different, different delay sections that you need for a specific song. Maybe you go from having like a light slapback type delay into something a little bit more extreme. You can do that with this, again, and it's just as simple as either pressing the other button or, both buttons at the same time when you're scrolling through the presets. Now, if that's not enough for you, you do have a couple of external, inputs that you can use for TRS expression or, tip ring, that you can use for expression or cycling through presets, which is pretty darn cool. You've got 5 knobs on it, pretty standard. So you've got your rate, your feedback, your level, your rate, and your depth. And the feedback knob is actually also a button that when you press it, you're accessing the secondary functions on them. So high pass filter, saturation, you've got tone, and you've got rhythm. And so the rhythm, will change between the different kind of patterns that you've got built into it, which are pretty darn cool. They kind of simulate different types of tape head sounds, which is pretty darn cool. But yeah, enough talking. Let's go into the video. Hopefully you'll find something that you'd like to listen to. And if you do, consider maybe subscribing. So let me go through my chain real quick. American Standard Telly with a DiMarzio mini humbucker on the neck. Whatever their main mini humbucker is, I can't remember the name, but going into the Squeegee by J Rocket, the compressor, Nano Cortex, playing clean and a little bit of a distorted amplifier, but mainly the clean, of course, through the fantastic Halo. Yeah, I don't own this pedal yet, like I said. Yet I am definitely gonna be buying this soon. I mean, come on, that's freaking cool. Running this into the stereo DI, the Pro D2 by Radial, right into my Apollo, and what can I say? This is a really interesting sounding pedal. So if you don't know what this pedal is, this is the Andy Timmons Halo by Keeley, obviously in collaboration with the mighty Andy Timmons, one of my favorite guitar players of all time. I think he's got, arguably one of the best guitar tones out there. Absolutely love his playing. So yeah, a pretty simple pedal. In reality, it's really complex in what it can do. But in terms of the layout, it's pretty simple, really. I mean, we've got 5 knobs on it, right? We've got the time, the level, the feedback, rate, and depth. But the feedback is also a little switch that's an alternative switch. You get access to secondary functions through the Alt button, which is right here. We've got a high pass filter, tone, saturation, and rhythm. And a lot of these features are going to be stuff that you've probably seen already in different tape delays out there, because that's kind of what it's based off. It's really based off a tape delay, and you've got the 2 sides A and B. Cool thing about this pedal is that essentially you always have 2 pedals at all times, or 2 different settings at all times. But then besides the 2 different settings, you've got a bunch of presets. I mean, there's 4 different presets on tap, and then the little blue indicator suggests that you're either on A or B. Cool thing about it is that when you're on either or, if you press and keep pressing the button on the other end that's off, you get that kind of like infinite sustain. Which, I mean, that's beautiful. Obviously, I've got it on the desk setup, but if you were playing out live, you press it with your feet. And yeah, you've got a couple extra inputs on the sides for extra control, so you can plug in external foot switches or different kinds of pedals for different kinds of settings that you can manipulate with them, which is pretty darn cool, especially considering the size factor, right? We're not talking about a huge pedal, we're talking about a normal traditional pedal size. The enclosure is really heavy duty, and it feels like it's built like a tank, which is freaking awesome. Comes in 2 colors, black, and then there's also a red version of it. That's kind of like play a little bit with the sounds. I think it's a really interesting pedal. Let's go right there. that was the Andy Timmons Halo. I am definitely planning on getting one myself. I think it's a beautiful sounding delay pedal. Comment if you're into that kind of stuff, and hopefully I'll see you guys on the next video.